Hey there, everyone. Let's get the music turned on down. Hope everybody's having a good day. As always, if you can't make the live stream, that is perfectly fine. Let's see. Need to adjust the size of the windows here. Let's see. Let's see. There we go. Oh, there we go. Need to adjust this. Sorry about that. Do a little bit of setup on resizing here. Doing it live. All right. Let's fix that Google window. Let's get zoomed in a little bit. All right. So last week we finished up on conditionals. Everybody's assignments were fantastic. Very happy with everything you guys turned in. Seems like everybody has a pretty good grasp of conditional statements. If statements, I didn't see anybody using match case, but that's fine. Match case is pretty standard across all languages, but if, elif, and else technique or conditional statements are pretty much a standard. So we're going to look at more on loops. We finished off with loops last week, the while loop and the for loop. We went through it pretty quick. When we finished off last week, we left off with a challenge for everybody to try and do a high-low game. We made a high-low game during last week, but it did not have any loops. You played it one time and that was it. So the goal today is to remake it or to convert it into having loops so we can play multiple times and maybe even add in a limited number of tries to play. I think this is one of the, I was looking through the files, this is one of the practice problems that the school created, this high-low game. So this will hopefully help you better understand it. Then we're going to look a little bit at creating a health bar, which should hopefully help you a little bit with the weekly challenge, the modify and debug challenges this week. About half of you got the assignment in already. So, and everything's looking pretty good. So without further ado, let's go get started. So we're week 6 agenda, continue our loops. Look at last week's challenge and making a graphic ASCII health bar. So the game loop, this is what we made last week for the high-low game. We imported from random to get the random integer. So you can do two ways. You can either say import random, and then every time you want to get a random integer, you'd have to do random.randint 1, 10. But if you don't want to keep typing that random every single time, then what you do is from random, use the import randint to get a random integer. We get a secret number. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Okay, there we go. That should be good. Okay, we get a secret number 1 through 10. Just resizing my screen on the side there. All right, from 1 to 10, and then we get an input from the user of what their guess is. Then we go through our conditional statements, building upon what we learned before. We have our if, elifs, and else's. Since we're only checking one variable, it's good just to put it all in one block. And then here we have our logic operator, our or. And then we have our comparison operators to evaluate to true or false. Because remember, conditionals and loops themselves need a true-false evaluation to determine whether they're going to execute or not. So depending if the user's guess is less than 1 or guess is less than or greater than 10, it'll kick it back saying you need to input between 1 and 10. If it's less than the secret number, it'll respond back too low. If it's greater than the secret number, too high. And if you otherwise, you must be correct, because if it's inside the range and it's not high or not low, then it must be exact. Then we use our else or catch-all statement. Congratulations, you guessed the correct number. All right. So if we want to turn this into a loop, let's see, zoom out just a little so we can try and get most of this in the chat. Okay, so we have to look, do we want to do a while loop or a for loop? Okay, let's go ahead and pop in. So while condition, do something. The other option is for something in range, you know, you have a value, you could do it that way, or you could do, you know, iterate over a string or something like that. So of these two here, we don't want to do it just a limited number of times, a set number of times, or within a preset of criteria. So the for loop is probably not the optimal option here. Here we would probably while something is true. So while the user has not guessed the number, we probably want to go ahead and keep looping. Or if they don't want to play again, then we can, or if they want to play again, then we can go ahead and keep looping as well. And for this, remember, everything has to be indented. So code must be indented, right? Okay. Once, let's go ahead and remove this for block. Anything not indented, I'm outside the loop. All right, so in some of the programs that you guys were turning in last week, people were having trouble understanding what's inside the loop and what's outside the loop. In Python, everything is determined by tabs or spaces. All right, so everything that's 4 spaces or tabbed over, this is all inside the loop. You could have 100 lines in here, you could have 1 line. The moment you go back to the left of line to the W, it is no longer inside the loop. You can even have a loop inside a loop while condition, I'm a sub loop. Okay, and same thing here. Everything inside this inside loop, so this loop here, everything inside is inside the outer loop. This is called the inner loop. Okay, and you can have lots of items inside the inner loop. Another item. The moment you go back, I'm in the outer loop. All right, the moment you go back to the alignment, now we're back into the outer loop. We're no longer inside the inner loop. I'm a sub inner loop. I'm an outer. I'm adding these comments here because anybody who watches the video later, it helps if they're looking over the Google Colab just to see what's going on here. I'm an outer loop. Outer looks funny there. Did I spell that right? Oh well, it's fine. Okay, one nice thing to do also is between sections, you usually want to have a blank line. So we have all of our code that's initiating at the beginning of the outer loop, have a blank line, and then we go ahead and start our inner loop. Once we're done with our inner loop, we would want to have a blank line. So the structure would look something like that for an outer loop and an inner loop. And the reason I say this is our outer loop will be our game, and then our inner loop could be, do you want to play again? And this is how the structure would look like before code has been added. So what do we want to loop? Let's come back up here. Okay, we don't need to loop the random integer. Imported libraries don't need to be looped, so we'll go ahead and copy that. Come down here. And we'll place this at the top with a blank line. All right, secret number. So we want to get a secret number at the beginning, but every time somebody makes a guess, we don't want to change the number or they're never going to be able to actually guess. So we're going to go ahead and take our secret number and we're going to go ahead and put that outside the loop as well. That way it sets the secret number. You know what, let's go ahead and, that Google Colab has that nice stuff. So let's go ahead and print secret number. All right, that's just going to go ahead and print it just so we can see what it is to make sure that, yes, we guessed it high, low, and what it actually is. Okay, now, once the secret number is set, then we want to go ahead and start looking for a user input. So let's come up here, get user input, right? So from there until the congratulations, you're done. So let's copy that, and that's going to go in the first outer loop. And look, all the tabs are messed up, but we want it to be one tab space over. So I'm going to highlight it all, hit tab, tab. All right, get everything lined up. So everything that is in this alignment right here is in the outer loop. Everything that's in this alignment right here is in the inner loop. And so whatever's inside from while, all this blank space here is going to loop over and over and over as long as they want to play the game. Okay? So while condition, we could do two options. We could say play game equals true, right? Because it's looking for a condition of true or false. We could use that. Or we could just say while true and play the game that way as well. Let's go ahead and go with this. A lot of people seem to like the while true option, so we'll go ahead and use that. Whatever style you pick, be consistent and keep sticking with the same style. Let me adjust my windows here so I can see the chat. Welcome, whoever joined up. That's probably Herv. He seems to be pretty good at joining into the live streams. Okay, so we have a random. We set our secret number. We go ahead and print it out for testing purposes. We can even put a comment for testing purposes, right? Purposes, spelling matters. All right, and remember, because our code is for whoever's going to take it over before us. So maybe secret number, set a number, and 10 for the player to guess. Okay, that's why we're setting a random number, right? Okay, while true, get input from the user, guess, we're going to turn it into an integer, and it'll be between 1 and 10. After that, we're going to do our guesses. It's going to keep looping. Congratulations, you got it. Since we said while true, we need some way to exit the program. Otherwise, it's going to loop forever. We looked at infinite loops last week, right? So you have to have an escape sequence. So if they guess the right number, well, then the game's done, right? So here, to get out of a while true, or to get out of a loop, any loop, break is the proper command. If we did play game equals true, then we could do play game equals false here as well. But since we're just doing true, we have to have a break command, or a keyword break somewhere within our loop. So if they guess the right number, break, and it will exit out. Okay, it won't even execute this while condition bit here. What we could do is let's move this loop. Ask the player to play, or ask to play again. So we're going to take this, we're going to go ahead and move it up, and to make it part of the else statement, hit tab. All right, that way it lines up. So the only time it's going to ask if they want to play again is if they won. If they haven't guessed the right number, they need to keep guessing until they get the right answer. So ask to play again. Let's go. We actually don't want this break here. We want to only break if they say no, right? So we're going to say play again equals input, and by default all inputs are strings. Do you want to play again? Question mark. You could do something like Y, yes, no. Let's go ahead and make those capitals, and then we're going to go ahead and make that into a dot lower, and that'll force it up, and there, okay. And if play again equals yes, well, we definitely wouldn't want to break if it says yes. Oh yeah, I guess we would. Let's see. If play again, no, we don't want an inner loop here. Looking at how we'd want to do this. So ask to play again here. Do you want to play again? We'll make it lower. If play again equals yes, we want a new secret number, 1 to 10. We'll go ahead and print it for testing purposes. If they input anything other than a capital Y or lowercase y, we want to go ahead and break. And that's going to kick us out of our loop and end the game. We don't need to worry about this outer loop. We want one blank space. Now, outside the loop, what we could do is we could say print thank you for playing, right? Just give a little message before the person quits the game, okay? So, all of this is going to loop here. It's going to initially set the number at the beginning, and it's only going to set it once. That gets a guess, tells us if it's out of range, low, high, or if it's correct. If it's correct, all of this is inside the else statement here, right? We're going to get a value, play again, equals input, do you want to play again, yes or no, dot lower. If it's a capital Y or lowercase y, it's going to go ahead and set a new secret number, print it for testing purposes, and then it's going to go back to the top of the program. If they say anything else, 1, 2, 5, 6, P, Q, R, exclamation, anything else, it's going to go ahead and break and print, thank you for playing. Let's go ahead and give it a run to debug. Guess the number between 1 and 10. The number is going to be 3, so let's go ahead and guess -1. Your guess is out of range. Please choose a number between 1 and 10. Hey, but it looped. It's now asking us, do we want to do it again? Let's guess 2. Too low. Okay, let's guess 4. Too high. Let's guess 3. Congratulations. Guess the correct number. Do you want to play again? Yes or no? Let's go with a lowercase y. Hey, there we go. Okay, number's 9. Let's guess 9. Now, let's press anything else. Let's press a 2. See what that does. Thank you for playing. All right, our code functions exactly as we expect. All right, the most important thing to remember, I wish my screen wasn't so small. Well, I'll zoom out just one little bit here so you can all see the alignment. This is the entire program, right? You have your outer loop stuff here, your intro stuff. You start your loop. Everything inside the loop, get the alignment just right here. All of this stuff will loop indefinitely until we give it an escape sequence or an escape keyword of break, which is right here. Okay, so get the user input, high, low. If it matches, then we want to ask, do you want to play again? If it's a capital Y or lowercase y, make a new number, print it out for testing, otherwise break. Super simple. All the alignments are right on. We have some helpful key statements, right? Give a little space there before the if block there, because you want to try and like have your blocks with that blank line. So we're doing an input here, so we want to have it separated. We're doing an if conditional block here. We want to have it separated. All right? Keep everything nice and aligned. That's how you can make the code readable. We have good comments. Some of you put your comments at all the comments at the top of your program. That doesn't work, and that's not the right way to do it. Make sure your comments are in line with your program. So hopefully some of you guys took this challenge from last week and tried to implement the loops yourself as part of the challenge. If not, well, we just went through it together on how you properly do it step by step, taking a logical approach on how to convert from this, where you can only guess once, to down here where you can guess until you get it correct. Another thing to do is you could do a number of tries. All right. So before the loop, you could say user guess or max guesses. Let's give it a value of like let's give 4, an integer of 4. So what we could do is while max guess is greater than or equal to 0. Right? Do the guess. And then every time they guess wrong, we don't want to do out of range, but if they guess low, we want to take guess, or we want to take max guess minus equals 1. I'll go ahead and copy that. If they guess too high, we want that as well. Max guesses greater than or equal to 0. Okay, congratulations, you got it. If they want to play again, set a new secret number. Max guess equals 4 to reset that. And then we got our secret number. Okay, let's go ahead and comment out our secret number testing numbers. There we go, right here. There we go. So max guesses, well, max guesses is greater than or equal to 0. So that means essentially they're going to get 5 guesses, right? 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. So that's 5 guesses they're going to get. If we only wanted them to have 4 guesses, we would say while max guess is greater than 0, right? But in this case, we're going to give them 5 guesses. In fact, that's a good comment to do. Give the user 5 guesses, right? Give the user 5 guesses. That way we can understand, oh, that's why we're doing greater than or equal to 0, but max guess is 4, right? Okay, look down here. We decremented our guesses. Now what we can do, so if they got the right number, then we just want to say thank you for playing. If they did not get the right number, do you want to play again? Let's see. Guess is 4. Then what we could do is you could say if. So it's going to play 1 time. If they say yes, it's going to reset it. If they say no, then just say thank you for playing. Let's go ahead and give it a try and see what it does. I was thinking where if they ran out of guesses, we could have a comment saying you have run out of guesses. But that would have to go outside the while loop. So that's an if statement we could do. Is in here we could say, let's run it and then I'll show you what we could do. Okay, so let's guess between 1 and 10. We'll start with 5. Too high, so let's go with 3. Too high, 2. There we go. Congrats, you guessed the correct number. I want another space in here because see how the O in the input box. So no, we'll have a space right there. Okay. No. Oh, yes. Let's play again. Okay. So if we play again, we want to do 5. 5. Ah, okay. So what we could do is we could tell them how many guesses are left. That's what we could do. See, because it just too low. Thank you for playing. The user doesn't know what the heck just happened, right? So minus, and then print. You have. We'll make this a formatted string. You have max guess. Max guesses should be the maximum number of guesses, not the current guess count, but we can use it this way anyways. You have max guess remaining. So while it's greater than 0, you have max guesses remaining. Okay, I've got a cat that wants to run around the desk here. Remaining, exclamation. Okay. And then we'll just copy and paste the same thing right after this one as well. If we want to make a function, you could say, you know, function for maybe decrement or decrease number of guesses, because that way we don't have to use the code twice. But in this case, it's really just 2 lines. But you could make a function that calls those 2 lines, because anytime you have duplicate code, you need to look at whether you need a function or loop. But in this case, it'd be a function. When we get into functions later on in a couple weeks, we can look at that a little bit deeper. Okay, let's go ahead and hit play and see what we got. Okay, 5. Too high. You have 3 remaining. 3 what? Let's go with 3 guesses remaining. In this case, let's change it to 5. And let's make it greater than. That way it makes more sense, because it really is 3, but it's actually 3 plus 1, because 0 would be remaining, would be the last one. Let's see. Hit stop. Hit play. Okay, 5. Too high. You have 4. Oh, I thought I put the word guesses. You have max guesses remaining. Yeah, should have done it. Guess between number 10. Did I do something wrong here? Okay. 5. Guess a number between 1 and 10. You have 4 remaining. Let's do that. Let's go with edit, clear all outputs. Let's do runtime, restart session. So it's gonna, what it's gonna do is gonna reconnect because it's not properly reading the code. It's missing this word guesses right here. So that means it did not take the last set of changes I did. So, okay, 5. There we go. Oh, 5 was the right answer. Yes, let's play again. Okay, 5. Too high, you have 3 remaining. Why is it not taking my new code? Well, let's finish playing through it. Maybe I'll hitting stop, and we'll see what happens. 5, 5. Come on. Thank you for playing. Let's try one more time. Nope, it's not taking the new code. Why are you not taking the code? Edit. Clear inputs. Why is it from max guess equals 5? Input number. So it's doing, you have blank remaining. It's not adding the word guesses. Why? And it was putting on a new line. Let's try it one more time. Because you know that's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over. 3. Okay. Congratulations. It was 3. All right, let's play again. 3. There we go. Trying a different number. Worked magically. Okay. Too low. I have 3 guesses remaining. 3. Too low. 2 guesses remaining. And that should have finished it. Okay. Let's look. Let's clear that output because we're not doing that text block. Okay. Guesses equals 5. Max guess equals 5. Oh, because I didn't reset it to 4 or 5 here. Okay. So that's one thing where you could use a variable. Max guess equals 5. And then what I could do is I could say current guesses equals max guess, while current guesses is greater than 0. And then what I would do is I would just reset down current guesses equals max guess. There you go. And that would be the right way to actually do it. So let's see what happens with that. Congratulations, you guessed the correct number. Yes, let's play again. Okay, 3. Was I really lucky 3 times in a row? Okay, you have 4 guesses, so that's doing the correct number now. Okay, that was too low. Let's try 7, 6, 9. 1 guess remaining. Too low. Must be 10. Yay, correct number. Okay, no. Whew, okay, so we now have a set number of guesses. We loop, and if we run out of guesses, then it asks you if you want to play again, right? Let's see. 1 guess 10. Okay, so what's doing, if you run out of guesses, it's immediately going to the else statement there. But you know what, that's fine for now. So now everybody understands how to run the loops with if statements, with comparison operators, with logic operators. We've basically taken everything we've learned with inputs, everything we've learned up to this point, minus, I guess, text formatting. So you could do some text formatting if you wanted. Everything we've learned up to this point has now been integrated into this single little program right here. All right, that's all we're going to do with this. Let's go ahead and go on to our next task, which will be the looking at a graphic ASCII health bar. So if you wanted to make a game, if you could make a game, you could do anything in a programming language, right? So if you wanted to make a game and you need a health bar, then this would be an easy way to do it. I mean, there's a couple things we could do. We could even do, you know, get the hero's name and things like that. Maybe that's something we'll work on next week, start building out a character, or when we start working on classes or functions, we'll start building out a character. But for this week, we're just looking at a health bar and how to decrement it and increment it, and once the player dies, what happens when they die. So we want a health bar that looks like this. We want to say hero health have a vertical bars, and we want it to have blocks representing the amount of health. In this case, there's 10 blocks. Each block represents 10% health. All right. When the player takes damage, either 1 damage or 3 damage, we want to take away that number of life blocks. If it's less than 7, we'll look at colors later on for yellow and red and stuff like that. But if the hero takes 3 damage, we want the blocks to be 7 blocks and 3 blank lines. This should sound a little familiar from things we've done in the past, because we've done things like print 5. Oh, no. Print 5 times. Let's do %sign. All right. If we run that, it's going to print 5%. That should look similar. We have 7 blocks or 10 blocks. So the amount of health they have, we want to print, right? So we could even say health equals 10. And then here you would just say health times whatever symbol you want to represent, and now it'll print 10%, right? You could even say if they get damaged, they're going to lose health, right? So max health equals 10, right? That's our maximum amount of health. Any health under that will be the remaining health. Remaining health equals max health minus health. Okay, you could even say current health if you want to. Okay, so right now 10 health, max health, remaining health is 0 in this case, right? So there's no loss of life. Lost health. Let's call it lost health. Okay, so we could print health times the number of health or items. So if we want to use that symbol there, copy, paste. There we go. We put the symbol in here, and if we want to run it, it's going to print 10 of those blocks, right? If health is at 5, it's going to print 5 of those blocks, but we also want to show the missing block pieces. Okay, so what we could do is print the number of health times that block, and then we could do the remaining. So lost health times, let's do the underscore, right? And now if we hit print, we should have, let's go back to 10. So 10, it should print 10 of these blocks, and remaining health should be 0, so it should print 0 of the bars. I think I need a plus. There we go. Okay, so it's going to print 10 of those bars and 0 of the underscores. If the player's health is at 5, it should print 5 blocks and 5 underscores, right? Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. So you need a max health because you need to know, well, what do you have maximum, and then what do you have remaining? So you need current health, max health, and then the lost health or missing health, whatever you want to call it, right? So this would be, oh, the player's at 50%. And if we wanted to add those fancy bars, we could even do, let's make this formatted, vertical pipe, because remember, we want to have those vertical pipes at the beginning and end. Vertical pipe. I want to use single quotes here because I'm going to use double quote here. I'm using single quotes there. We want to make these and then we want to put this one also. Yeah, this should do it. Coding live is a lot of fun, right? Okay, there we go. But we're not getting our final pipe, so let's add our final pipe. Okay, there we go. So the health bar looks kind of like this. In this case, they have 7, so we do 7. Hey, we just made some code, and it matches. So we have a health bar. It says hero's health. It actually does not say hero's health. Let's add hero health : space. And if they take 3 damage, we want to print 3 blank lines there and 7 health blocks. We do it. There we go. We have code now that provides the exact output that we want to do. Now, if the player's health bar equals 0 or is empty and it's all blank lines, then we want to say you have died, kind of like this. Okay, so we want a health bar. That we got the health bar how we want to look. We want to say you have died when it hits 0. That sounds like an if statement to me, right? If health equals 0, print you have died. And while health does not equal 0, that sounds like a loop. So while health is 1 or greater, that sounds like a loop to me, right? So code the bar and take some damage. Well, we already got some code here. Okay, so we got our basic code there. Health at full would be here. So if the player took damage, we want, let's print a blank line, and we'll go health minus equals 1. So they're going to take 1 damage, and we're going to recalculate lost health. Equals max health. Having the autocomplete there feels kind of cheaty when I'm trying to teach this, right? There, and then we want to go ahead and print the health all over again, the exact same code. And if when I say the words exact same code, that should trigger something in everybody's mind about something that I said, where if you are ever duplicating code, you probably need a function or a loop, right? Because we can even swap the order. So max health, delete that. Now if you look, we have the identical code here. Identical code here, because we changed the health, recalculated lost health, and then we reprint what it is. And if you look, they took 1 damage right here. So we have the full health bar, we have this health bar. Okay. Now, if we want to add some color to it, so every time the player wants to take a damage, we got to do minus to the health bar and then reprint it out. One thing we can do is health minus minus lost health. Let's see. So we'll set the health here. So we're setting it here. We want to... Yeah, let's go ahead and do that too. We'll go ahead and print the health. Just make these into separate blocks, okay? So we'll run this. That's setting our max health and our current health. That's what our full normal health bar looks like. Now, every time we want to decrement it, what we could do is we could just say health minus minus and print. So what we could do is health's at 10. So if we do it, now it's at 9. Run it again. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now we'd expect it to say, hey, heroes died, right? It doesn't do that yet, so let's go ahead and add that. If this is going to be one of those single else that I talked about a couple weeks ago, where we only want to check one single thing. So if health is less than or equal to 0, print you have died. You have died. Boom. That's just what our requirement here was, right? If the health is empty, you have died. Okay, and we want to print that probably on a fresh line. So we could do /n here. Not the way I like. I actually like to have, if I'm going to have a blank line, I actually like to say have a blank line. So make a blank line and then print what you want. So that way it's very easy and visible to see. All right, let's reset. So health back to full. Let's have the player take away 3 life at a time. So here, they're down to 7. Math of public down to 4, and they're down to 1. Runs again. It's at 0. You have died, and this looks exactly what we want to look like right here on the death of the hero. All right, we're getting there. The problem is that I have to keep hitting play, 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 and there's no loop there. I'm manually executing the loop. All right. Before we loop it though, let's go ahead and add some color. And for the color, what I want to do is, I think we mentioned it up here on the original requirements. If the life is less than 7, we want the blocks to be yellow, and less than 3, the block should be red. That sounds like a conditional statement to me, right? So we have a health bar. We're multiplying to get our blocks and multiplying to get our blank underscores. It prints how we want to print. when we died and we're at 0 health or less, it says you have died. We have our initial code setting up the character hero and printing the initial health bar. And then we go ahead and decrement and show what it looks like if you decrement, and then check if it's less than 0, they're dead. All right. So if we want to add color, let's go ahead and we'll get some green, red, yellow, and a reset. We've seen this in lots of previous videos. I will go ahead and add it before we make our bar. So we're going to set our colors. We got green here, red, yellow, and reset. I'll go ahead and run that code there. And then what we want to do is health bar. We want to do green. Oh, nope. There we go. Nope. There we go. Green, colon, lost health. Let's go ahead and go with a reset. Reset. Okay, so initially we're going to set it to green. We know their health's at 10. And then we will do color. So it subtract the health, lost health. Okay. If, let's see, health is less than or equal to, I think we said 7, right? We don't want to print, so that actually stuff is not there. But what we do want to do is we want to set a variable called color. I'm going to use type hinting, right? I'm going to call this a string. So what I've seen from some of you guys, if you're type hinting, less than yellow, if you're type hinting, you don't want to always use string if you're not doing a string. If you're doing an integer, then put it as an integer, right? My age type hint int, right? Equals, and then you could get an input or something like that, or you could just declare the variable like that. You could say my float, all right? Some of you, when you turn in your assignments, you did the type hinting, which is a good technique, but you called every single one of them a string. Even though this is a string, these are not strings, all right? So if I said here, 4 is an integer. It's not a string. You would not put str here for string because that is not a string. We want an integer. And if a value other than integer is put in there, it should give us some kind of notice. So error defaults to, let's see, I think we looked at this in there we go. So string, object, string. That's not what we want to do. We want it to be an int, all right? We looked at it in PyCharm and stuff where it actually would highlight this text here or put the squigglies underneath it saying, hey, the type is not matching the type hint that you created, okay? So in this case, it's a string because the colors here are strings. That's why they're inside parentheses. And we have a variable called yellow. So because it's a variable, we don't have to have the quotes, but the variable is a string. So we can actually come up here, string, If I was smart, I would copy paste, but I'm not smart today. We'll go ahead and run that again, okay? Because these are all strings. In fact, let's put double quote on that one, double quote on that one, that are being stored inside a variable. We are calling the variable here and storing inside color, which is also going to be a string. Okay. In this case, we'll make that an elif, if I could spell elif correct. Let's go with if health is greater than 7, color, string, let's go with green. I don't want to keep redeclaring it every single time. There we go. If it's less than or equal to 7, we're going with yellow, else color equals red. Okay, now here, so you saw up here we put green here and reset here. Well, we have a dynamic color now that will be green, yellow, or red. So we can do before health, we can do color, and now it'll be green, yellow, or red depending upon what the health is at. And then we can just keep reset as it was. Reset. Okay, let's go ahead and subtract 2 at a time, and we'll see how it turns out, okay? So we added a block saying if health is greater than 7, green, less than or equal to 7, yellow, otherwise this should actually be an elif. Health less than or equal to 3. Okay. Else. Let's go else, and we'll just do a reset here. Color equals reset because something didn't turn out right. It should only be these values here because everything is considered less than. Even negative values are considered less than or equal to 3, right? This should catch everything greater than 7. You have 4 to 7, and then everything 3 and less. The else here is just a catch-all, but you should have a catch-all. Okay, let's run. He died. That's because we got to reset our health back to 10 because this is our setting up. And look, color is green. We got some color now, right? Okay, if we run, we should take 2 damage, and our health bar should be 8. And here, yeah, we can stick with the green underscores. We could also put the reset in between, and then they'd be black underscores, but the green's fine too. Okay, we have 6 now. 6 is less than 7, so it's turned yellow. We're at 4. This is always going to be true. Right? Always said take the extreme cases and work your way to less than or equal to 3, greater than 7. There we go. Reset that. Reset. And that just identified. We'll hit play. Okay. We're at 8, 6, 4, 3. There we go. Now it's red. 0. You have died. Okay. There we go. Super simple. That basically did everything we wanted. I guess the color code, we kind of added it up here, but that's fine. Okay. In fact, I can go ahead. Color. Actually, I'll go back through and I'll move this code. Copy. And I'll go ahead and reset that. That way, if anybody up here doesn't or isn't watching the live stream, they'll understand what the heck is going on. Okay, so there we go. We took the color back out. Print. You have died. Okay, now it's back to black and white. Reset. Health bar. Oh, Z. We'll copy that. That way everybody will be able to... is that too big for everybody on the screen? Let's check. That should be pretty good. Okay, so this is the color section. We want to have our code to set the health. There we go. And then all I can do is just reverse this for a sec. That way when anybody who wants to come watch the video afterwards won't be confused of, hey, we're making the health, but we're not setting but the color's already being set. There we go. So it should be black and white, all the way down. Okay. Then we go ahead and add some color. There we go. That's what I like to see. And you can see it's reprinting it each time. Now it's red, and then you have died. Fantastic. All right. Now the problem is we need this to loop, right? So if we wanted this to loop, let's go ahead and say text. Let's make it loop. Add some code. So what I'm going to do is come back up here to the code block that we have. Copy. We can just put this one here. Okay. So we don't want to have to keep hitting the play button every single time. So what we're going to do is while health is greater than 0, find everything I want in here. We want to print the active health. Okay. Now all of this is inside the while loop. Take this. We'll also put this in the loop. And then what we could do is we could just say something like press any key to respawn, ... Right now that's not actually going to do something, but that's the kind of thing you would do. And you could actually do as an input. input. Press any key to respond. We don't care what key they press. We don't even need to save the key anywhere. If they press a button, then it's going to respond them. All right. So we got our print. Why is that giving me an error? Am I missing something? Expected an indented block. Yes, indeed. Okay. If. There we go. Ownership. All right. Super easy to add that while loop, right? And then indentation is the most important thing. So let's make sure it makes sense, okay? So we are setting, we'll set it up here. We're going to skip this one here, and we're going to go look at a loop. And what it should do is it should print, 8, 6, 4, or actually we can even go with removing 1 health at a time. And it should go ahead and print it 8 times in a row. We could even add a print, if I could type right, print here to make a blank line. If the health is on 0, then it's going to go ahead and print you died, and it's not going to do anything. So while health is greater than or equal to 0, no, while health is greater than 0, then it might never actually call this text here or draw it. It's decrementing it here. Yeah, we should be good, okay? If I hit this, I should expect to see a health bar go down by 1 10 times in a row. Let's hit play, and there we go. So 10, it take 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage. Here's health is at 0. You have died, and it quit. Press any key to respawn. I'll press enter. All right, there we go. Respawn. Okay, so if it was an infinite loop, what we would end up doing is having something, like, well, health is greater than or equal to 0. Why health is less than 10. And basically it's going to keep recycling, cycling. So we'll see this is going to be an infinite loop. See, you have died. And it's actually making that block longer and longer and longer because it's actually going to negative values. So if you have an infinite loop, it'll look something like this. If I can get this thing to stop. Come on, stop. Restart runtime. So infinite loops kind of suck. All right, and that's a lot of loops. What I can do is I can come in here. Okay, it's still restarting, but I can come in here. Clear selected outputs. We had an infinite loop. It's not happy. Okay, it's still restarting. Restarting the entire environment. So that's an example of what this would look like. It's actually still looping. Come on. Let's hit refresh on the whole page. Might have to load. It's not happy right now. So infinite loops kind of suck. Usually hitting stop will stop it. There we go. After 5,000 tries, it just went ahead and did it. Let's go ahead and clear that out. So infinite loops kind of suck. We don't want an infinite loop. So while the health is greater than or equal to 0, so that means because we're decrementing, we're going in a negative direction, we don't want to go, keep looping past 0. So if they were taking like 3 damage at a time, it could go a negative number, but it won't stay in the loop. So let's say that we do 6. All right. So we do 6. Where did I make a mistake? Wow, health. Oh, that's because I just redid the whole thing. Let's go to the colors. We'll reset our colors. Come down here. Redo that block. Okay. And we'll go ahead and redo this block. Now it knows what everything is. So monster hit us. We went down to 6 life. Next time we're at -2. Automatically, it's just going to stop the loop. You have died. Press a button to respawn. Ta-da! Wonderful. And it does it all for us. It loops all for us. So if you're in a monster fight, what you would do is you'd say, while health of players greater than 0, or while health of monsters greater than 0 or equal to greater than 0. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be greater than, not equal to. While the monster and the player's healths are greater than 0, you're going to loop, and at the end of each loop, you're going to say, do you want to attack? Do you want to run away? Do you want to use an item? And you're going to pick the item you want to, or the action you want to do. If you want to attack, it's going to attack. You're going to attack. The monster's going to attack, and then it's going to check the health again. And then you're going to pick an action. Monster attacks, you attack. Pick an action again, and you're going to keep doing that until either you kill the monster kills you. You run away. Run away could be an option for using a break. So you want to put something like that in a loop, right? So now we have our health in a loop. This is what it would be kind of. So while health is greater than 0, and we could even say, where is it? Up here, okay. Add some code right about here. Monster health equals 10. While health, we can even say player health, right? Player health, run that block of code again. Come down here. While, I better change that to player health. Let's see, player health, player health, player health, player health. All right, player health, player health. All right. And same thing here. I'm just adding all these so that way when somebody comes through and looks at this code later, it will work for them. So did we add some color? Okay, and then we put it in a loop. We got our health. We got our health. Okay. So in this case, while player health is greater than 0 and monster health is greater than 0, it's going to do either hurt the monster or hurt the player. Okay, so while that's true, let's take this to the next level. Let's have them fight. Okay, so code. We're going to come up here. Let's copy what we already had. Let me add some text. Monster and player fight with random damage. All right, I'm going to leave it at this for now, and what we can do is we can pick this up next week as an extra item. I also want to look at the assignment for next week during next week's live stream as well. So what we're going to do is next week we'll look at this here, assigning random damage. That'll help look at the random integer again, and either the player or the monster is going to die by taking random hits. Okay, this code here, drawing the correct number of blocks, is directly relevant to this week's modify assignment. The debug assignment is looking at logic errors. So if they're not syntax problems, the code runs for this week's debug issue. The problem is it doesn't run correctly. So that's something for each of you to look at, is what is the expected output. I think I even say in the comments what the expected output should be. Run the code and then fix the code so that it puts out the expected outputs. For the debug, let's see if I can pull it up. Not that one. So you'll for the modify, it has 4 examples of what your code should look like, and then it gives the code for number 1, 2, and 3. You need to change it to make it look what the to do example looks like. For number 4, you have to create that code from scratch to draw that pyramid. Let me see if I can get my Laulima up real quick. Let me move this off. Hold on one second. I'm going to put something down real quick. Yep, be right back. Let me pull up my Laulima. That way I'm not blasting everybody with my username and password. Okay. We'll go down here to the class. All right, we'll go student view. All right, this is what you guys should be seeing. There we go. Okay, so when you come down to assignments, we can look at loops. Okay, yeah, so for the modify, so you're going to have these directions. The first one goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. You want it to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is what it currently says. You want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The blocks on the code right now are left aligned. You want it to look like this block of code right here. The current code goes 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want it to reverse. And then for this one right here, you need to create the code from scratch for this one. The other three are modifications. All right, you should be getting familiar with these square or rectangular blocks. You can even copy and paste them from here. You can copy and paste them from the Google Colab or previous examples, and then go ahead and upload it to all email. I even include a video of what the final code or on how to do it and what the final code should look like. I don't show you how to do the code, obviously, but I include a video of what it should actually look like in the end, as well as the directions and then the code itself. If you click on the code here, it's going to be messed up on here. So what you want to do is you want to right click and download, right? Save link as, and then save it as a Python file. I believe I even have it here. So yeah, download it that way to look at it. So this is what you want the final ones to look like. So you want to count up instead of down. Right align. Now you can't use alignment. Don't use the you should not be using the code. You shouldn't be saying, you know, print f my player health colon right 10. You should not be using right align or left align formatting for these. Or the dot center. You should not be using dot center formatting for these. You use loops to control the placement of the blocks. No alignment. That will not count for this assignment. All right. If anybody has any questions, reach out to me on Discord or send me an email. I usually respond back pretty quick, and I'm always on Discord. All right. Thanks, everybody. I hope the lesson for today was informative. Thanks.